It's the Wait a Minute show.
Bruh, ain't that right, Lopan? Wait a minute. Book it. Really? Really?
The Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, and I'm here once again to give you a sports fix here in the ATL, and this is the Wait a Minute show. I got a special set of weeks going. We know the NFL is getting ready to kick off. Training camp is starting, and all that stuff is going on. So for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking divisional talk. NFC, AFC. We're going to cover all the teams before the regular season start. I've got a whole bunch of people on deck that's going to come in and talk. And on this one, we got AFC West and NFC West that we're going to cover. Got a bunch of my folks on here that's going to cover it. So I'm not even going to waste any time. Forget Lopan. We're not even doing all that. We're just going to get to some NFL talk with all football talk, all divisional talk going on the Wait a Minute show. So we'll be talking about your team pretty soon. So let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it. First up is the AFC West. We're going to go over there, see what's popping. I am so happy, ladies and gentlemen. I got two gentlemen here with me to talk division talk. So this is the Wait a Minute show, and we're talking all divisions. Training camp is all around us. NFL, we're smelling it in the air. Everybody's getting ready. And I got two gentlemen here that's going to be talking to me about their division that their team operates in, which is the AFC West, right? So West, y'all. Throw it up. And I have a nice 1-2 punch. First up here to join me is Jeff Foxx, host of the Jeff Foxx Show. He covers all things Miami, Marlins, Dolphins, Heat, the U, everything. But he is the original Oakland, LA, now Las Vegas Raiders. So representing the Raiders. But also here with me is my guy. You've heard me talk about him before. He's out west. He's covering all things LA, all things Southern California, SoCal Supreme Show, covering the Lakers, Dodgers, Rams, you name it, he covers it. Ladies and gentlemen, here with us as well is my man, Teran Rodrigues. And I got to say it like that. I got to pronounce it like that. Teran Rodrigues is in the building. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. We're talking about the AFC West. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to really talk about, let's start with your Raiders, Jeff. And I'll go across the panel here, and you can answer the question, follow up, Teran. But we talked about this off air. Devonte Adams, they make the trade. They get the deal done. Now he's there with his guy again from college, Derek Carr. So with Devonte Adams being there, do you think this will put Derek Carr back into the MVP talks? Because he already has a chip on his shoulder. He feels disrespected. So would this put him back in those talks like he was about 5 years ago?
Absolutely. He still has a great weapon in Darren Waller, the tight end, all-world tight end, at least top 2 in the NFL. You know, he's got a reliable Hunter Renfrow, who the Raiders re-upped. He's got a good ground game with Josh Jacobs, even though they got to fix that offensive line. And now he's got a true number one, of course, Devonte Adams, who's only widely regarded as the best wide receiver in the NFL. And just think about it for a second. We lost the speedster out of Alabama due to his driving inadequacies, not to be insensitive, but, you know, clearly the Henry Ruggs situation took away a lot of the Raiders' offense. Still, Derek Carr found a way to get us to the playoffs. And if you give us the ball with 2 minutes left, I'll take Derek Carr over anybody in the NFL. So certainly, yeah, Devonte Adams, I think, gives us a big boost.
I see Teran there, and he has on his Chargers gear. So obviously he's not a Raiders fan. But I'm still going to ask you the same question, Teran. Derek Carr, MVP talk, or maybe I'm just jumping the gun a little bit too early?
No, I think you're totally right. I think that Derek Carr can be in the MVP talk. And personally, I think he's very underrated just because he's not upon that top five quarterbacks like in the NFL. And I give him a lot of credit. I mean, the dude like broke his ankle. Well, what was it? His second or first year in the NFL, and people are saying he hasn't been the same, but he's just getting better and better within the years. And he eventually found a way to take the Raiders to the playoffs. And the Raiders were just dealing with a lot of baggage outside of the gridiron. And they had a bunch of close losses like the Chargers. And they eventually were able to get it together. And it's quite impressive, even as a Chargers fan, to see the Raiders just ride all adversity on the field. It just really is. And I'm just gonna say they earned that the Chargers in Week 8. I'm not gonna take anything away from them. They really earned it, and it's nothing but respect for them. So overall, yes, I think Devonte Adams can put Derek Carr in the MVP talks. And honestly, with Josh McDaniels as the head coach, I think it adds an extra gear to Derek Carr's game.
Yeah, and like you said before, Derek Carr, he was on an MVP, trajectory before he had the ankle injury. I think he broke his ankle, if I remember correctly. What's that, Jeff?
2016.
Yeah, 2016.
Yeah.
Right. So he was already headed in that right direction, and with the addition to Josh McDaniel, this is supposed to be the mastermind, and hopefully he figured it out the second time around. Like some other coaches haven't been. But Teran, you mentioned about close losses, so that rolls me over into your Chargers. So the last year, Chargers lost 5 games by 7 points or less. Or actually, let me check my notes. It was more. It was 5 games by 7 points or less. And had they got those wins, they finished 14-3 in the AFC West. This year, going into 2022, do you see that the Chargers can turn that around and actually turn those close losses actually into wins?
Honestly, I think they can. But here's the thing about their losses last year. Some of their losses, it was kind of decided in the final 2 minutes, and such as the Patriots loss, they were down by 2 scores, and then they basically just got like one last gasp efforts, which had to result in them succeeding in the onside kick. And the same can be said for the Vikings loss. Now, the Chiefs loss and the Cowboys loss, those were losses that the Chargers could have avoided. And obviously the Raiders loss, that could have also been avoided. But again, Raiders had a lot to play for. And back to the Chargers, I feel that yes, I think they can turn the corner when it comes to those close losses. They did a much better job of winning those close battles. Like, it was much worse back when Anthony Lynn was head coach and Mike McCoy was head coach. So for me, I think the Chargers are moving in the correct direction when it comes to close wins and close losses. And I feel they're getting there. It's just all about putting together the full 4 quarters and just making sure all your bases are covered and your X's and O's are just crossed off and you're crossing your T's and dotting your I's. So I think the Chargers can rise above those close losses.
And Jeff, how that is with close wins and how teams that decides. Sometimes it decides a season, but sometimes it decides the trajectory of how that team plays out the next few years. So how do you feel about the Chargers this year going into 2022 with close wins?
Well, I mean, I think it'll be a problem. Like, it was like trying to kill one of those roaches from the projects, the ones that just won't die. And that's how it was. That's what it was like trying to beat them in that last game. Like, every time I think we got him, here comes Justin Herbert again and again and again and again. It's like, raid won't work. What do you need? A machine gun? It's like they just kept coming back, and I see why there's so much love for them. You know, you ask the so-called prognosticators, they got the Chargers right behind the Chiefs, and that division is a gauntlet, best division in all of football, if you ask me. All four teams, anybody in the AFC West can win it all. Anybody.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough division. Like you say, the Chargers didn't go. They just did not go away, and a lot of that was, I think, their aggressiveness, especially the willingness to go for it on fourth down. So I see exactly what you're getting at. So we're going to move into two teams that you guys don't root for, but we're still going to be talking about them. And you mentioned them, the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs did something I think that probably shocked a lot of people, except for them, maybe except for Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. They let the cheetah go. So Tyreek Hill goes to Miami. He's down there with you now, Jeff. And now you get Juju Smith-Schuster and you get this kid Sky Moore that comes in with the Kansas City Chiefs miss Tyreek.
Oh yes, they will. The cheetah will be down here in Miami. And it's going to be a track team that the Dolphins have down here. But he affects everything that they do. As a matter of fact, I just watched the playoff game with the Chiefs in Buffalo. I didn't see that game when it actually happened. And he just changes everything on the field. And I'm not sure he's going to have the same effect here in Miami. But for Kansas City, it absolutely has to be different without the cheetah. And Juju Smith-Schuster and the other irrelevant guy, whatever. They don't scare me. Chiefs don't scare me. Not anymore. That guy is gone. That guy's in Miami now. So we're coming for their throats.
Wow. No fear.
No fear.
Teran, what about you?
Before I answer that question, Jeff Foxx alluded that the AFC West is the best division. I can totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, I can go as far as to say the AFC West is basically going to be pay-per-view football.
Yes.
Back to Tyreek Hill, I think the Chiefs are definitely going to miss him. You can't really compare Juju Smith-Schuster with Tyreek Hill. Yes, Juju's a great wide receiver, or a pretty good wide receiver, but he's not in that tier where Tyreek Hill is. And also, Juju Smith-Schuster missed a good chunk of the year last year due to injury, while Tyreek Hill didn't really. And honestly, I think that is going to be tough to replace. I think they're going to have other players just step up, and it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to be that wide receiver one, whether it's Juju or Marquez Valdez-Scantling or the guy they drafted from Clemson or signed from Clemson. It's just going to be a big question mark at who's going to be wide receiver one. And then I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Travis Kelce more, and he's a big body, so I feel that teams might have to either double team him or they're just going to have to put someone that could handle the Warthog. I think that's his name. Not sure.
Yeah. And the big play capability of that Chiefs offense, I alluded to that Buffalo playoff game. I mean, you could just throw Tyreek Hill a dump off pass in the backfield and he could take it 87 yards. Like his explosiveness, they will miss that. Patrick Mahomes will have to be patient. He'll have to nickel and dime his way down the field at times during the year. And that'll test them. They'll be tested. We'll see. Without that big play capability, how will the other guys be? They will miss that explosiveness. So they'll have to be very patient on offense.
Yeah, and it'll be a challenge, and I'm sure the Chiefs would be up for it. Andy Reid, I'm sure he believes in himself and Pat Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy. So I know they got a plan, but yeah, a guy that leaves like that, there's going to be question marks. Of course, there's going to be question marks. And speaking of question marks, right? We had some questions about the last team that's in the AFC West, and that was the Denver Broncos. Now, some of that was answered this year by Russell Wilson coming to Denver, and now he's cooking in the Mile High. Now, Denver was already a team that a lot of people felt was a quarterback away from really making some noise. So now that they got Russ, this helps out. They got a duo there in Judy and Sutton. And my question to you, and I know this is tough. But I'm going to ask anyway. But with the addition of Russell Wilson, does Judy and Sutton compete to be one of the top dual wide receivers in this AFC West?
Gotta say hell yeah. Gotta say hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's why, like, I'm not looking forward to this season, man, because every week, every game in the AFC West is going to be a dogfight. Every game is going to be like a playoff game. Even in the regular season, there will be no breaks. There are no New York Jets in our division. You know, there are no crappy teams, no Jaguars. Like, every game will literally be like a playoff game, road game and away game. So it'll be survival of the fittest in the AFC West. And I think the addition of Russell Wilson to the Broncos is just as significant as Devonte Adams to the Raiders or Khalil Mack to the Chargers, put with Bosa. I mean, everybody has improved other than Kansas City.
It's on you, Teran.
They're
What
not
you think?
bad either.
Yeah, they're not bad either. Teran, you can get in there.
So yeah, I think that wide receiver duo of Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton is going to be quite potent, and I really think that they can be one of the top duos in terms of wide receivers in the NFL. Now, in addition, Russell Wilson definitely makes his receivers look good. Look at what he did with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like, I think it's going to be second nature to him. And then also with his other weapons, such as Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, it just makes Denver a much better team. And there's one player I think that Denver could also get into the mix, and that is Greg Dulcich, the rookie tight end from UCLA. He had big expectations, and some people were saying he could have been a first-round pick, but it was kind of a stretch considering he stayed longer and longer in college. But overall, I think that wide receiver duo is going to be quite something to watch for. And thankfully, the Chargers signed J.C. Jackson, and hopefully he can mesh well in that defense with Asante Samuel Jr. and Michael Davis. I think whoever you're going to have to put your best corners on those two. And Wilson, even though isn't he like the oldest quarterback in the division? If that's the case, then we'll see if he can still use his legs. But there are some questions with the Broncos O-line. I still feel the Broncos are still going to be a team to watch for, but I don't know if they'll be like the Rams last year with Matt Stafford. But I do have high hopes for the Broncos this year. I think this year is going to be special for them, and I think every AFC West team versus AFC West team is going to be a battle. Like, it's going to be pay-per-view, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're probably easily. I think the division probably could be 1-4 and 2 or 3 and 3, just because of the talent level that's in here. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here, talking about the AFC West, covering our division talk here at the Wait a Minute Show. So to get you out of here, I want to ask you one last question. Jeff and Teran, barring a Super Bowl, we know that's the goal, but barring a Super Bowl, what is the one thing that you hope or want to get from your team out of this season? I'll start with you, Teran.
Well, for one thing is I want to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs. I think he's too good to be missing the playoffs, and that's kind of what I want, because once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. Look at what the Bengals did last year. I know It was kind of a little miracle run, and so same with the Rams. But once you get into the playoffs, everyone's 0-0, and no one cares what you did in the regular season. And that's where it all gets real, and that's where teams are going to go all out to just playing their hardest and not wanting their season to end. So I just personally want the Chargers in the playoffs. Whether we win the division or the Chargers win the division or not, I want to see them in the postseason. Even if they're the 7th seed, I want to see them in the playoffs so I could see Justin Herbert finally getting his chance at the playoffs. And also just to keep all the Brandon Staley critics out there quiet, just because I think Staley's a good coach. I really think Staley. I love his aggressiveness. I think he did great things for the Bears and Broncos and Rams. I think he was well groomed under Sean McVay. I just think he gets a little bit of a bad rap just because some of the things are backfired, and some of the plays that the Chargers ran when they went for it on fourth down, it was so obvious. Like, I could read that a mile away, and I'm not even remotely close to a football head coach. But for me, I'm just hoping the Chargers do make the playoffs, and here's hoping we have ourselves a great competitive season.
Well, my thoughts are similar in regards to Derek Carr. I'd like to see him get a W though in the playoffs. I think Derek Carr's confidence is going to be way up this year. I already have supreme confidence in him in the last 2 minutes of a game. Like, if you give us the ball and we're in a tight ball game, I'm taking Derek Carr all day. I'm very comfortable, much like Patriot fans were with Tom Brady, or Colt fans were with Peyton Manning down the stretch of a ball game. I think Derek Carr is clutch, and he's proven it. If you look at the comeback victories in the fourth quarter, I think since maybe 2016 or something like that, he's tops in the NFL, and he doesn't get any credit for it. I think he's disrespected, constantly disrespected. He earned his big money contract, and if you put him in a pressure situation in the playoffs, the O-line will be key. If they can just hold up a little bit, I think Derek Carr can take us to a Super Bowl.
Nice. So, last thing, you heard me talk about Jeff Foxx and Teran Rodrigues as well. They talk about sports as well. So, Jeff, tell everybody where they can find you and give you information, sir.
No doubt. It's simple as the JeffFoxShow.com. That's the website. Everything you want to know, Jeff Foxx, regarding to the show, articles, JeffFoxShow.com. How you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. All the links are there. The YouTube channel as well. So it's simple. Just go to the website, JeffFoxShow.com.
And Teran, where can everybody find you?
You could find me on Twitter at Teran Rodrigues 1. It's basically my name in front of me, as well as the number 1. I do 2 shows on the side. I do Set Point, which is on iSports Radio. Both of my shows are on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Set Point basically covers volleyball. I know volleyball isn't everyone's first sport, but it's a unique sport. It's really intense, and once you watch it, you basically kind of want more. So I cover volleyball on Set Point on iSports Radio, and then I cover Southern California sports on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, which is my second show on iSports Radio. And basically, the shows are in the description of my show titles and whatnot. You can also find me on Instagram at Teran Rodrigues 1992, basically my name, and then 1992.
So I appreciate it once again, fellas. Everyone, check them out. They cover everything. This is for your man, Jelani JB Bodie. I'm going to see y'all later, and we'll be back again with another division talk. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. AFC West talk. Again, thank you to my man, Teran Rodrigues. Gotta say it like that. Teran Rodrigues. Almost slipped up. And my man, Jeff Foxx, for talking about the AFC West. So we're going to take a break. And then when we take a break, when we get back from the break, we're going to jump to the other west side. We're going to stay on the west side, cover the NFC West. I got 2 more people for you. You don't want to miss it. So it's the Wait a Minute Show. We'll be back after these words.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drink in Color at your next function. Drink in Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drink in Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drink in Color, cocktail catering, Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low, counted low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go, on Facebook and Instagram.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and you are listening to
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
here on the waitaminuteshow.com. Make sure, if you haven't already, go to the waitaminuteshow.com. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. So I said I was getting into stuff, and I kind of forgot something. I'm contractually obligated to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and get it out the way. Ladies and gentlemen, still here with me throughout the entire show, Lopan is in the building.
Indeed.
I forgot about that little nugget in the contractual agreement. I have to introduce Lopan every show.
Indeed.
We get it, Lopan. So now that Lopan's out of the way, let's go ahead and get back. I got 2 more people for you. We're going to be talking about the NFC West. Very interesting division that's going on. I got 2 more people for you. Check this out. I got 2 more guests here with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to have them here, and you see their names on the screen. So I got my man Jay Fish, aka the Microwave, and I got Big Mo, 2/3 of the show, Mo, Fish, and Grits, here on the Wait a Minute Show with me to talk about the NFC West. So yeah, we're gonna get into it. And this is not Fish's, team, so he's here to give an unbiased, and Mo is too. But we'll get to him and let him do, the Eagles part at some other time. But we're not going to talk about the Eagles. We're talking about the NFC West. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm feeling good. How about you, Fish?
Good, sir. I'm good. I'm feeling excellent, man.
Awesome. Well, let's just go ahead and jump into this thing right now. And Big Mo, we'll start with your team, the San Francisco 49ers. So news just came out. Jimmy Garoppolo has gotten the green light to seek a trade. So what we've probably been knowing for months at this point, it looks like it's going to be Trey Lance's team. So I'll ask you first, Mo, is with Trey Lance, is this, his team? Is this his moment? And will this moment be too big for him? Is he ready? Is Trey ready for this moment?
I'm gonna be honest with you. My opinion about this situation has changed almost 180 since 2 months ago. So no, it's not Trey Lance's team, and I'm gonna tell you why I say that. I mean, it's Trey Lance's team in a sense of the 49ers made their minds up. They made a decision. They going with Trey Lance. That's obvious. I mean, they gave Jimmy the green light the whole year. I mean, the fact that they drafted Trey Lance let you know that, okay, this is the future. But it's still Jimmy Garoppolo's locker room, right? Everybody in that locker room loved Jimmy G. And to be honest with you, I kind of want to see another year just to see what he do. I don't feel like Trey Lance is not going to live up to the hype, depending on what you consider the hype to be. All the questions about his accuracy. I mean, you want to try to make these judgment calls on him after, 2 games? We don't know what he's going to be. The problem is, I think we do know what Jimmy G's ceiling is, but at the same time, I mean, has it been working? I'm conflicted. I ain't going to lie, I'm conflicted. I mean, I'm part of me say, let's go ahead and move past Jimmy G, but I mean, if the team want to play for Jimmy, and with the nucleus that we got, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, we just came off an NFC, conference game, on the heels of a Super Bowl and all of that. So I don't know, but to answer your question in a nutshell, no, it's not Trey Lance's team yet. He got to earn that.
All right. So
I
and
think
it
it's a
could
skill battle.
it could be, and I'm not comparing apples to apples on this, but I'm just talking about the situation. Remember Joe Montana? You know, it was kind of time for him to move. Now, obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo is not the age of Joe Montana, but Steve Young was kind of sitting there, and they kind of wanted to push him in. So,
Right.
that's kind of how I look at the situation. But I'm gonna
Right.
move it over to you, Fish. Do you believe in Trey Lance and think this is his team and he can make a difference going into this season in 2022?
I mean, I haven't seen enough of him to know whether I can trust him or not. You know, like Jimmy Garoppolo, I know I can trust him at least to get a team to a Super Bowl. You know, if all the parts around him are moving perfectly, I know he can get to a Super Bowl because he's been there. You know what I'm saying? Whether he makes the pass or not, in that moment is one different thing. But Trey Lance is still an unproven commodity, in my opinion. And I feel like because San Francisco held on to Jimmy so long because they weren't sure in Trey Lance or not, right? Like maybe they might be sure now. Okay, he's looking good now, but Jimmy Garoppolo is now put in a situation where they said, okay, well, we'll allow him to seek a trade.
Gotcha.
But at this point in time, I mean, you might have only one or two teams who are looking for people, whereas 3-4 months ago, when you could have traded Jimmy, you would have had a list of suitors. So now the whole thing about with the Jimmy situation to me becomes, what do you do? Like you either you trade him now or you will lose him for nothing next year. You will lose him for nothing. So as far as Trey Lance goes, I'm excited to see what Shanahan can do with him, especially with the RPO game. But we're gonna have to wait and see if he's ready for the next level, or if he's just a quarterback who just needs more time to develop. There's nothing wrong, but you cannot develop on the sideline.
True.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
My biggest concern right now with Trey Lance is, for the past couple years, you've been talking about moving on from Jimmy, but you drug your feet. Now Jimmy he got what, a year or whatever. I think they owe him like what, maybe 26.
1 year left, 25.
Yeah,
25,
25.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pressure on this kid right now. I mean, he got some expectations to live up to because the fans are wanting Trey Lance. The organization clearly want Trey Lance. But like I said, it's Trey Lance's team, but it's Jimmy's locker room.
Right.
What I do respect about Jimmy G is the way he's been handling it. He's been quiet. He's been kind of going with the motions with it. I mean, he a human being, so he got to feel some kind of way about it. But at the same time, it ain't a huge market for him, but he's a serviceable quarterback.
Right.
Well, I think the market isn't as big as for Jimmy is because of the timing. If you said this before the draft, I think the market for Jimmy is very big, right? Look at Carolina. Does Carolina go and trade for Baker Mayfield if Jimmy Garoppolo is on the market, right? You still have, even though they won't do that, maybe, probably not. But Seattle,
that's what I was
they need a quarterback. Like there's a few teams that need a quarterback, even if it's just. And I've heard people surfacing talking. Have you heard this, Big Mo? People surfacing talks about maybe him going to the Browns for a year in case Deshaun Watson has to serve a whole year suspension.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I mean, but all I'm saying is right now, for Trey Lance, hopefully the pressure is not too much for him. But we got to find out at some point. We drafted the kid. We got to put him in the game.
And I'll end it on this. With Trey Lance, I will say this. The 49ers, they drafted Debo, turned out all right. They drafted Bosa, turned out all right. And other pieces, Brandon Ayuk, guys have turned out. So I think this is what the San Francisco 49ers is basing this off of, is that we've made these picks. We've turned them into, star players or key quality players, and we see something in Trey, and we need to go ahead and get him, because obviously he gives them the mobility that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't. And Jimmy Garoppolo is an athletic player. So they just honestly feel that he takes them to another level. So they got some type of trust in him, especially to jump up to go to number 3. So I say that, and I'm going to move on.
JB, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So do you do you not think it's or do you feel like it could be 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, because you have a young dude who may not be ready, but you got an older guy who is ready, but if you don't do something now, you're going to lose him for nothing next year.
Well, yeah, I'll answer that. You were talking about, the Cleveland situation and everything. I think that's a very, very, very dark horse because they already got their money wrapped up in Deshaun Watson, and they don't want to pay another $25 million for another quarterback for 1 year. If it's any secret team or not secret team, if it's any team that he may end up going to, could be Houston. Houston doesn't have anybody that's just really there that they're sold on. So, and plus Houston has those first round draft picks from Cleveland from that deal. So I'm sure they're probably, looking at that. The last thing I'll say on it is that I made the comparison between Steve Young and Joe Montana, but another comparison I want to see, they see something in whatever Trey was doing last year going into this year, but the same way I think that Andy Reid and them saw something in Pat Mahomes and them moving off of Alex Smith, because Alex Smith was the same thing. They were getting to the playoffs, they were making moves, but Pat just gave them something that put them over the hump. So I think that's what they're thinking.
But they moved on from Alex
something.
Smith a little sooner, though.
They did.
Then they moved on from Jimmy. Then these guys are moving on from Jimmy G. So it's like, in my opinion, I feel the exact opposite. Like, they don't feel comfortable enough in Trey Lance to where they moved Jimmy G to where when they should have moved Jimmy G, right? I think the best time to move Jimmy G was before the draft. Now you're stuck in a position where you're hoping that somebody's quarterback or one of somebody's quarterbacks go down in training camp, and then they're gonna need a quarterback, so they'll trade you for Jimmy G. But you literally could have got a first rounder for Jimmy G 4 months ago.
Right.
But now you wait 2 months later than you should have, and you're not going to get the same price. What Fat Joe say? Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Right. But also, Alex Smith didn't just come off of taking the team to the Super Bowl. Jimmy G did. So you can't really make that move at that point where he showed that, hey,
they didn't went to the Super Bowl last year.
No. I'm talking about the year before. He had came on. So,
what have you done for me lately?
All right, you're right. So we're gonna move on from there. And you were talking about trust earlier, Fish. So trust that DeAndre Hopkins is gonna be serving these 6 games for the Arizona Cardinals. So I'm asking you to, these first 6 games, Kyler Murray just got paid, just got the dough. A lot of pressure is going to be on him.
Friday night, money in my pocket, all day humping.
Exactly.
Friday night.
This guy. So do you believe that these first 6 games, they can finish out with a winning record without DeAndre Hopkins in this? I'll start with you, Fish.
No. I do not believe. Now, they did pick up Hollywood Brown, so you have valuable replacements for the time being, and then you will feel that when DeAndre Hopkins come back, that there'll be a dynamic offense. But excuse me, we still have questions on Kyler Murray and his leadership. So I do not feel like they will be a better team. I do not feel like they will be a competitive team. In my opinion, now I haven't looked at their schedule yet. But in my opinion, if they go 3-3, they're very fortunate, because I think their schedule is brutal coming up in the beginning of the season. And without a dynamic person like him, like what you going, AJ Green, like, all right, yeah, these are good receivers, AJ Green, Hollywood Brown, but DeAndre Hopkins makes all the difference because he can dictate the coverage. You see what I'm saying? Like when you got a receiver who can dictate the coverage, everything changes. But when you got guys where they can just disguise all the coverage and do whatever the hell they want to do, it creates more problems for the quarterback. So I do not think that they would do well without DeAndre Hopkins.
Big Bo, I roll it over to you. 6 games without D-Hop. How's it going to look for them?
I got them 500. I mean, the schedule is you got the Rams early on in the season. I'm looking at the schedule now. You got the Rams early. You got the Chiefs, but I mean, you got to beat up. I ain't gonna say beat up, but you got the Panthers, and we don't know what Seattle is gonna look like without Russ, and it don't look like.
Oh, we know what Seattle gonna look like without Russ.
Yeah, we'll get to Seattle in a moment. Go ahead, Big Mo.
Talking up as a win, but no, I think they'll be okay defensively. I mean, you got to hold it together, man. I mean, what Marquise Brown gonna do? I mean, I think it's gonna be. I give him a wet 500.
A wet 500. All right.
500, yeah.
Can't be 500 no more. It's 17 games now.
You're right.
Yeah, got to do something. Hey.
So what you saying? Eight. Oh, what was it? 8 and 9 or 9 and 8?
What the first?
For the season. Games, right? They either gonna be. You said 500. So now that I told you that they can't be a 500, it's either gonna be 8 or 9, or it's gonna be 9 or 8. That's the closest you can get to 500. Which one you going on?
No, most 8, 9.
Yeah, I'm going 8, 9. I mean, they're not going to have that same hot start, clearly, that they did last year. Last year, they was on fire at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
This year...
Last couple years, they were doing that, too.
Yeah, but this year, I mean, without D-Hop, it's gonna be rough. But I think they can hold it together well enough to get themselves a chance, but I'm not optimistic.
Gotcha. So, now we brought up Seattle, and I told you we'll get to Seattle in just a moment. Some people say they don't have a quarterback, but they got a quarterback, Geno Smith, Drew Lock. But we do know that this is going to be a run-heavy offense unless they get Jimmy Garoppolo or something like that. But this is going to be a run-heavy offense regardless. So going into this without Russell Wilson, they did get Noah Fant in that trade. But going into this without Russell Wilson and the run game that we're expecting for it to be a heavy run offense, is this going to be more of an uphill battle for the season for the Seahawks, or a downhill battle for the Seahawks where they're going to surprise some folks?
They're not surprising nobody. They're going to be all what they are on paper right now, and that's sub 500 team. But that's without a quarterback. I don't believe that they're going to go throughout the season with Geno Smith or Drew Lock at a quarterback. They getting the quarterback. They getting the quarterback now. Who they decide to, the direction they go in, I don't know. I can't see San Francisco making a trade. I mean, what they gonna trade for Garoppolo? I mean, I don't know. Y'all can answer that question better than I can, but I mean, I can't see. You're not seeing division teams trade within their own division too often. Right. That's not gonna happen. So who else is available? But is Geno your guy? Are you comfortable going the entire season with Geno? So it's an uphill battle all season. Just rebuild in the off season.
Fish, uphill, downhill. What is it?
I agree with Big Mo. I believe it's uphill because, well, I guess definitionally speaking, downhill is going to be easier to run than uphill is. So I'm not going to not put them in the Jimmy Garoppolo sweepstakes, but I do also at the same time find it very hard to believe that the 49ers are going to trade him within the division. Now, if you give them an offer that they can't refuse, maybe, but I agree with Big Mo. Like, the 49ers are not just going to trade him to Seattle within a division. Now, with that being said, I don't know what future you hold for these guys. Like, I you don't have a quarter. Like, there's no more quarterbacks out there, right? Baker Mayfield is gone. Whoever else out there is gone. Only person left dangling out there is, who we talking about. So, is he going to be able to elevate a team to the promised land? That I don't think. But at the same time, I mean, he's serviceable and he's going to get your team to maybe a relevant position, at least to where they're talking about you on air. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, like, listen, these dudes in the NFL, these dudes in all sports now are too far advanced athletically. Like, it's all about what they got up here, right? Because they're too far advanced athletically to just be like, oh yeah, well I'm just going. No, it's not going to work that way, So um, I think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad look. Wherever you look at it, then it's just not gonna work out, And it's okay to be a mediocre quarterback, but it's not okay to be the mediocre quarterback when you were drafted number one overall.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. We talked about the first three teams. We got one other team. They just happen to be.
B.
They just happen to be the Super Bowl champs. That is the LA Rams, Los Angeles Rams, however way you want to address them. So, with the Rams, and I'll go to you first, Fish. They won the Super Bowl. They're coming back as defending champs. Can they repeat?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, I don't, from to my knowledge, the only person the Rams had lost was Robert Woods, and they were able to win. And Robert Woods was very detrimental to their day-to-day process, but he was injured during the playoff run, and they still won the Super Bowl. So yes, I do think the Rams can win the Super Bowl as long as Les Snead keeps that attitude with F them picks. I think the Rams are always going to be in contention. Like, Matthew Stafford will say what? I don't know what. He's like 36, 37. Like, he's probably got at least, maybe about 35.
I think he's around like
Matthew
33,
Stafford,
34, somewhere.
33. Okay, there you go. So with Matthew Stafford being 33, and you see what Tom Brady's doing, he probably has at least 5 more serviceable years, more very good years, as long as you can surround him with the people. So for as long as Les Snead is looking at it like F them picks, we trying to win championships. I really do think that the Rams can repeat. Like, they have the pieces. Aaron Donald's coming back. Jalen Ramsey's coming back. So your defense is solid. You got somebody up front. You got somebody on the back end. And then offensively, you still got Cooper Kupp coming back. You got Matt Stafford coming back. You got a slew of running backs that you use, and whoever's going to be healthy, going to be healthy. But, like, I just really think the Rams could be the last team or could be the next team to repeat since the Patriots.
Now, Mo, I know you don't want this to happen, especially because your 49ers is in this division. But I still have to ask, could the Rams actually repeat and go back to the Super Bowl and win it?
They could repeat, but the Rams could also start off the first half of the season with a losing record. Have you seen that schedule?
I know first game was Buffalo, right?
Have you seen that schedule? They could get a
brutal.
And you know the NFL, anything can happen. I don't wish no injuries on nobody, but they could throw their rhythm off,
right.
But again, they could come out on fire, ready to repeat. But I don't know, man. I mean, what you saw last year is I didn't see it coming. I knew they would be good, but I didn't expect Stafford to be, the quarterback that he was. I mean, everybody got to see that what a lot of people said he was, but a lot of people just like, man, listen, what you've been doing in Detroit, you know what I mean? We ain't see this coming. He might regress. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But as a 49er fan, nah. I mean, they had their fun.
They had their fun.
Odell got his ring.
Yeah.
Matt, he come out and he got him a chip, but it ain't gonna be easy for him. It ain't gonna be easy for him. And not only is their first half of the season rough, but they got a tough schedule all the way out, man.
Right.
It's hard to win in this league. It's hard to go back to back.
Yeah, they're gonna have to play the first place schedule. Like, the team in each division that wins the most games, they're going to have to play the toughest schedule the following season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, in that division, listen, with Jimmy Garoppolo, with Trey Lance, and I'm not trying to go back to the 49ers, but with either one of them quarterbacks,
Yeah, you is.
we're gonna be a problem, and they got to go through us a
Right.
few times this year.
Yeah, so the NFC West is going to be a very tough division. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be interesting. And you got a lot of storylines in there. So, fellas, I appreciate y'all coming on. Before we get out, no. Before we, because this part right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I take control. So before we get out of here, I'm gonna give you an opportunity because I already talked at the beginning that this is 2/3 of the Mo Fish and Grits show.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
go ahead, talk about that, where everybody can find it, and then is there anything else that you would like to put on this platform? The floor is yours. I'll start with you, Mr. Mo, first.
Hey, listen, Mo Fish and Grits, Equa Radio, Blazing 420, every Tuesday, Takeover Tuesday at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, right after cooking with the microwave, man. Y'all check us out, man. Me, Mo Cheese, and J Fish the microwave. Them brothers open up their platform to me and let me come in and just do my thing, on their dance floor, and I appreciate that, man. And we're gonna have some fun with it.
All right, so Big Mo's being very modest right now. And we practically begged him.
Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen.
We practically begged that man, bruh. We need you. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me tell you something. People don't understand the talent that Big Mo has, either when it comes to producing the show, and when it comes to also hosting the show, and when it also comes to being talent on the show. Like, it's not easy. Like, and Jelani, you know that because you do it yourself, right? Like everybody, like when it comes to having to come up with the content, run all the sound effects, and this and that and that and this, like Big Mo, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't for him, there would be no more Fish and Grits. Obviously, clearly, because of the name of the title. But like what he brings to the table, it's irreplaceable. You know what I'm saying? And Mo, I want you to hear that. While you know what I'm saying, I want you to smell them flowers. You know what I'm saying, before I start farting. You know what I'm saying?
Don't do that.
Please don't. Please don't.
I love these dudes, man.
Too late.
My brothers, man.
Right. So,
my brothers. We gonna have some
microwave.
fun, man.
You got a show. Mention it.
So we got Mo Fish and Grits coming on every Tuesday. We're gonna be coming on at 7 p.m. every Tuesday, man. Part of the Tuesday takeovers. So you're gonna have Country Roads Experience coming on at 10 a.m. Then you're gonna have the Tea with Tea coming on at about 1, maybe 2, and then you're gonna have Cooking with the Microwave coming on at 5, and then you're gonna have Mo Fish and Grits coming on at 7. Like, and then you're gonna get the late night show. It's a long story coming on at 10 p.m. So we're trying to do the best we can. Like, look, man, we all want to do this to get paid for it. So we're doing the best I can to find every avenues that we can to make sure that we can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had conversations multiple fucking times a week. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that we on the same page and to make sure that the show's on the same page. And like, I am more excited about this show than I am about my own.
Well, I'm excited for you. Tuesdays is all locked up, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that. Just go on X Squad Radio or Blazing 420. Find all the shows on there. Again, fellas, I appreciate you for coming on, spending some time with us to talk about the NFC West. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Thank you.
Wait. So you want to talk about the Lions?
That's for another division. This is not the NFC North. Lopan, get this guy.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry. Hey, nah, you and Lopan.
You stay over. Actually, Lopan, you stay over there because I know how you act. So I'm gonna gonna leave him over there. I'm gonna let you live right
Hey,
now.
JB. I'm gonna say this before you hang up on me.
Yeah, because it's coming close. It's coming close.
I've known you for a very long time, and we have always been cordial with each other. Not even cordial, but like straight up, bro. Like we've been cordial. We've talked trash to each other. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like out of everybody, you probably the only one who can reel me in because we know each other for so long. Like you know how to deal. Like when we did the Super Bowl show, Big Mo. It was us three. Remember Big Mo?
Yeah.
Jelani know how to reel me in because Jelani know me.
And I'm gonna reel you in.
I'm
gonna reel you in.
I ain't finna let fish get away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right now, I'm gonna reel you in. We're gonna end it now. I appreciate that. I gotta move on to some other stuff, brother. So again, appreciate y'all.
What you gonna do? Make some peanut butter jelly sandwiches?
No, I can't even afford that. But again, thank you, fellas. I'll catch y'all next time.
All right, man.
Hey, man.
So you see what I be dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. But I gotta say I appreciate Microwave coming on. I appreciate Big Mo. We might see Microwave again because he is an Eagles fan. So we gotta cover the NFC East. So just prepare yourself for that. Disclaimer: prepare yourself for that. But I want to again thank them for coming on, and I want to thank everyone as well. Lopan, hit the music, man. I want to thank everyone that hung out with your boy while we were talking about NFL division talk. Yes, we got the AFC West. We got the NFC West. Again, thank you to my man Jeff Foxx. Thank you to my guy Teran Rodrigues. Gotta say it like that. Thank you to the Microwave J Fish and Big Mo. Appreciate you for joining in with me, man, and giving us that insight. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be easy. Y'all have a good weekend. We'll do this again. We got another division talk on the way. I got more people, so stick around. Follow the show, like the show, and turn on those notifications. So for your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show. Two things as always. Stay positive and push forward. And I'll holler at y'all later. Lopan, let's go.